Hey everybody, I usually don't speak on trending hot topics, but this topic I felt like I needed to speak on, and it's Monique versus Netflix and about knowing your value because a lot of people have been doing videos about this on YouTube. A lot of people have been leaving their opinions, their comments, what they see to be the truth, what they see not to be the truth. Are they for her? Are they against her? Should she have taken the $500,000? Should we be boycotting Netflix? And this is what I want to speak about on this. Now, Monique has been an Oscar winner. She is an NAACP winner. She has won many awards. Plus, she has been in the business for over 25 to 30 years. She has been grinding and doing her work. Now, I admire people that know their value, that know that they're worth this as opposed to being worth this right here. Because anytime when somebody offers you something, they're offering you something at a bargain. Because they're profiting from the other end. You're not profiting, they're profiting. And when you're in Hollywood and when you're in acting and stuff like that, you got to remember this. You're being filmed. Your likeness, your appearance, and all that is going out on a DVD, or it's going out on these things like Netflix and Hulu and all these streaming programs. They profit off of your likeness for the rest of your life. You may get like residuals and stuff like that, but then there are deals that are made that where you'll get like whatever your manager or your agent works out for you, you'll get that sum. But then that production company, everybody else that's behind the scenes gets more. The writers, the producers, the directors, the studios, they make all this money, and then you get like whatever they want to put out. You get that bargained price, okay? So you have to know your value. Anybody, and this goes for any job that you work. Any job that you work, they're getting you at a bargain. They're not getting you at that top rate. So I admire Monique for knowing her value. Now, about this whole Netflix situation, about the Netflix boycott, they offered her $500,000 to do a comedy special, and then they own the rights to it. For 2 years, she can't do another comedy special for another network and stuff like that. So basically, whatever jokes and everything that she comes up for these comedy specials, they own. They own. Do you get that? Even though she comes up with this stuff, they own for $500,000, and they get to stream this on their network for probably their lifetime and still continue to make money every day. Every time somebody clicks on that, every time somebody watches that, they're making money. So this is why $500,000 isn't enough. You're asking her to not do another comedy special for 2 years. $500,000 isn't enough. She knows her value. Like I said, she's won the Oscar. She's an NAACP winner. She was on a #1 hit show, The Parker. She also hosted Showtime at the Apollo. She also hosted Charm School. Monique has done it all. Plus, she's been traveling around this world as a stand-up comedian, and she's been out for many years. I've been following her career since Comic View. That's how long I've been following Monique. But what I want to also talk about is character. And, because she's gotten this label of being difficult. I've known Monique personally for 3 years. Now, I'm going to tell you how I first met her personally. I went to the Dr. Oz show. I found out that she was going to be co-hosting on the Dr. Oz show. So I was like, I like Monique. I've always loved her comedy and everything. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to meet her and just go be in the audience. Now, I didn't think I was going to actually meet her, but just to go be in the audience because I've been to plenty of talk shows before and just to be able to have that experience. So, if you go to a talk show, they have a waiting area for the audience. So we're all in the waiting area. Out comes Monique and her team. Monique's in her bathrobe, and she comes out in there, and she gives everybody a hug, and she's talking to everybody. And she made everybody feel like they was important, like there was no barrier between, like star and everyday people. She makes you feel important if you've ever met Monique live and if you've ever been to like one of her shows. So she came out and gave every one of us a hug. So I'm just sitting there and I'm looking at her and I'm like, I'm going to go give this woman a hug. And I just felt like she was going through something. So I gave her a hug and I whispered in her ear and I said, "Nothing that is formed against you will prosper. Do you understand what I'm saying?" And she said, "Yes." So we all, she gave everybody hugs. She's still hugging more people. And then she said, we're going to have a good time today. We're going to talk about it. We're going to do our thing. But I just want to come out here and meet y'all and just show y'all some love. And then she went back to get ready for the Dr. Oz show. So she co-hosted that day. So when she's co-hosting and in between takes, she was coming out to the audience. She was, chatting with us, making us feel good. And she was like, my feet hurt because she had on these high heels, But then we had a good time at the show. So then after my other experience with her, I was on Twitter. So I'm on Twitter and I'm chatting back and forth, and I find out she's coming to Connecticut. Now, I live in Connecticut, but I found out about the show late, and I was like, darn it, I wish I could have got tickets to the show. And she was like, you want to come to the show? And I'm like, yeah, I want to come to the show. So she's like, okay, there's going to be 2 tickets waiting for you. Just come to the show. So I'm like, really? Are you serious? So I'm like, okay, I'm trying to find somebody like, who wants to go to the show with me? Who wants to go to the show with me? Monique invited me to go to this show, and she gave me 2 tickets, and everybody's like busy. So I was like, okay, I'm going by myself if nobody wants to go. So I go there, get the 2 tickets, and I'm like second or third row from the stage. So she comes on, she performs, and then I'm like, it was a good show, so I'm clapping. As I'm about to leave, she said, Stephen Edwards, get on this stage. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So she was like, because it was also my birthday. So she was like, y'all, I want to tell you about this young man. She said, I met him at the Dr. Oz show. He came up, gave me a hug. He said something inspirational to me. He didn't know I was going through a rough time. I was having a rough day. And then he's also on Twitter, and he gives me some inspirational messages. Have a great day, have an awesome weekend, stuff like that. You never know what somebody else is going through, but your words can take them to another level. So she said, you know what? I want y'all to sing happy birthday to him. So in this big casino, if I remember correctly, it was Foxwoods. Yes, it was Foxwoods Casino. Everybody singing happy birthday. When I was at that Dr. Oz show, I didn't know she was going through something. I didn't know she was having a bad day. We never know what somebody is going through on the other side. And the one thing that she didn't know was that show meant so much to me. Even though it was my birthday, I was going through something too, because my father was dying. My father was in the VA. He was dying. I could see that he was deteriorating. He never even told me that he was dying. He told my sister, he told my uncle, but he never said anything to me. But I could see that he was dying, and I'm looking at this man deteriorate. So I'm dealing with that. I'm going to work. I'm dealing with work stress, home stress, and all that. But she didn't know what, her inviting me to that show meant to me. It meant a lot to me. It meant that, somebody felt that I was important enough to, be celebrated. And she celebrated me on that birthday, and everybody in that arena just singing happy birthday to me. It meant a lot. And she just doesn't know how much she touched me, how much she really has touched me. And she's touched a lot of people. That's why people stand behind her. That's why people stick up for her. That's why people are quick to say, Monique, know your value and stuff like that. So then after that was done, she gave me a hug again. She said, I want you to come to the back and I want you to hang with us. We're going to chat and everything. So I'm like, okay. I go get my coat. I come back up, and the security wouldn't let me come through. So I'm like, okay. But what she did was she had everybody form a line outside. She said, I'm going to hug every one of y'all. We're going to chat. We're going to have some fun, such and such. So I said, I'll just get in the back of the line, whatever. Now, this was a long line. So by the time I get up to the front of the line, she's like, Stephen, didn't I tell you to come to the back and come hang with us? And I'm like, I know, but the security guard wouldn't let me come back there. And her friend, her cousin Robin, was looking for me, and she ended up hurting her foot searching for me. And I felt so bad about it. But what I want to say is that what these people are saying as difficult, I'm seeing a woman that has tremendous character, a woman that cares about people. Now, just to go on with what's going on with this whole situation, there was a rumor that was put out by John Murray that she was offered $3 million for this Netflix special. She's not telling the whole truth. But then Monique provided the emails that she was not offered $3 million, that she was only offered the $500,000 and such. So nobody has come to dispute that. But people still want to believe what they want to believe, because as soon as you put something out there, it becomes truth. Regardless if it is the truth or it isn't. Just as long as someone says it, people will believe it as truth. But she's produced emails from her talks with Netflix to show that she was only offered the $500,000 plus, I think, an additional $300 and something for production. I'm going to leave the link below so you can go and check these emails for yourself. I also hear people talking about, her husband shouldn't be in her business and all this other stuff. They're married. It's called a marriage. So shouldn't he want the best for his wife? Shouldn't he want his wife to prosper and do well in this life and to have the things that she wants, to be able to travel, be able to provide for her family and stuff? Because, when you're married and you have family, it's not just about you. It's also about them. It's also about these kids and about how they come up and stuff like that. So, that's why I say you have to know your value. And like I said, she's the only one that's provided receipts. Nobody else has provided any receipts. You know, John Murray said he had these emails. He just read off of a list of people that said they would never work with her. Number one, I haven't heard any of these people publicly come out and say that they would never work with her. So where did he get that from? Did they email him and say that to him? You know, show your emails. Show your emails that this woman was offered $3 million to do that comedy special. What I want to say is, the overall message is, you got to know your value. You got to know your value. If you feel like you are worth $500,000, then you fight for $500,000. If you feel like you're worth $1 million, you fight for $1 million. If you feel like you're worth 6 million, 10 million, you fight for what you are worth, because you are always being undercut regardless of what you're being given. But if you're happy in the place that you're in, then be happy. You don't have to boycott Netflix if you don't want to boycott Netflix. But know your value as a person. Know your value, period. Financially, spiritually, abundantly, just know your value as a person. And I commend her for knowing her value. And I commend her for taking a stance, because just remember that this same thing just happened to Octavia Spencer, where Jessica Chastain had to stick up for her. Now, Octavia has a long resume. She's been in the business a long time. I remember her back from Big Mama's House and things like that, where she was, where she had like maybe 3 or 4 lines and stuff like that. But she has a long resume, and she's also an Oscar winner. And Jessica Chastain, who's a friend of hers, has been nominated for an Oscar, but Jessica Chastain stuck up for Octavia Spencer. She went to bat for her. Said, this isn't right. You know, you're paying her this and you're paying me that. You know, let's come to some middle ground. She stuck up for her. She did what was right. So people, when you know your value, don't undercut yourself, and don't tell nobody else that that's not their value. She knows her value. She, remember the show, The $6 Million Man? She's going to be the $6 million woman. She's going to be the $20 million woman. Trust it. She knows her value. But everybody, you got to know your value. I did a video on this before in the past about knowing your value. So whatever your value is, don't settle for nothing less. It's important. It's important to your livelihood, to your family's livelihood, and etc. You got to know your value, because remember, whatever they're offering you, that's just the baseline, but they're getting all this up here out of you. They know the value out of your work. They're going to pay you $5 an hour, just to say, but what you're producing something that's like $1,000 a day or something like that. So do the math. Know your value. You know your value.